Alright, it's finally time to make a new video. What should I do a video about? Maybe another one about reverb pedals? Would be a cool idea. Strymon Big Sky, definitely. Maris Mercury 7, really cool pedal. Earthquaker Devices Avalanche Run, I'm gonna take that on my list as well. Best reverb pedals for less than €500. Now, all I need is to What is the best reverb pedal you can get for €50 or less? Hi, I am Synths and Sounds, and after having done some highly scientific research, I figured out that this question is very relevant to answer. It also became relevant to me personally after I had to return my Hall of Fame from TC Electronics recently to a friend. So I went on a quest to figure out which would be the best reverb you could get for less than $50. And I found 4 contenders. Contender number 1 is the Behringer Digital Reverb DR600. It's basically a copy of the Boss RV5, but it's not a very close copy because Behringer had a hard time figuring out how to copy a digital circuit. So it's really a very basic reverb pedal which does nothing but reverb, but it's also very cheap. I think you can get it for maybe €21–22 on Thomann. Pedal number 2 is the Alesis GuitarFX, and I love it very much since it was my very first pedal that I got. So when I got this in the early 2000s, I paid €80–90 for this multi-effect pedal, but unfortunately it broke down recently on me, so it's not working anymore. So I got a second one. And for this one, which is perfectly working, I paid, again, not even €30. So I made a video on this already. Nobody has seen it probably since I made a stupid title and nobody watches that video, but you can have an in-depth look at it already on my channel. Contender number 3 is the Alesis Midiverb III. So when this came out, it costed around $500, but still it was one of the most affordable reverb effects of that time. It comes from 1990, so it's from the early period of digital gear, which means today you can get it very cheaply. This one I paid a little bit more than €30, so it also fits in that category. And last but not least, we have the Zoom G1on. I think this has gone out of production recently, since when I looked it up recently, I didn't find it in many places anymore. But when I looked for it a year ago, I found it for €49, and also I found another one from another guy, so he sold this one to me for €35. And still, if you look for it, you might find it new or used for less than €50. So there's contender number 4. So first of all, I'm gonna compare the 4 of them sound-wise. By the way, all of them are stereo, but since I don't have the proper cables, so I'm gonna use all 4 of them in mono mode. But yeah, there's no quality difference in between them on that point. Well, to figure out which one does the nicest reverbs and the best reverbs, because that's why we are here, I've set them all to a very long length of reverb, because if you keep the reverb going, you start hearing more and more whether it's a nice or not such a nice reverb. So yeah, let's have a listen to all 4 of them. So let's listen to the raw sound first. And now with the Behringer Digital Reverb. I've set it to Hall and I've set the time to maximum, so this is the maximum of reverb you can get out of the Behringer DR600. So you can hear it's still pretty short, and for me it has a very metalish sound, a kind of spring reverb-ish. And honestly, it's not the kind of sound that I like. I mean, imagine a hall and think of what sound you bring together with what you see in your head. And now listen to this and tell me whether it sounds like a hall to you. So yeah, honestly, I'm quite disappointed. So let's skip on that quickly and let's see whether we can get any better than that for less than 50 bucks. So let's have a listen to the GuitarFX next. I've made a preset where I'm only using the hall, and it hasn't much more choices. You can have a room which is shorter, you can have a reverse, so the hall is really the big reverb on this unit, and you can set it in between 1 and 9, which selects the amount, so I go for the maximum, and the maximum length is 20 of whatever it means. So this is all maxed out on the GuitarFX. Let's listen to that. So that makes a huge difference already. Honestly, I kind of like that reverb. It's pretty nice, it's long, it's atmospheric, it doesn't have any weird sounds going on. It's a very clean, long and nice reverb. Maybe I'm a little bit biased since I just had this for so long and I've been playing with it so much that it kind of became a standard to me, but still, for paying 30 bucks for it, you can't complain about it at all. It's really a pretty nice reverb. Next, we have the Alesis Midiverb III. As I said, it's a bit different since it's a rack mount effect. Also, it's just way older than the other ones, so since they're all digital, this might be the least far developed. But for 1990 they put really a lot into this. It's also kind of a multi-effect unit. It has different kind of delays and choruses. But for this one I just selected a clean, long reverb to compare it to the others. So let's have a listen to that. So you can hear it might now not sound that clean as well. To me it always sounds a bit delay-ish, if you can understand what I mean. You get some kind of repeats inside of the reverb. Since it's just not that far developed, the algorithms back in 1990 to create reverbs were way less advanced, even if you compare it to a way cheaper GuitarFX that came out 10 years later. So in these 10 years, all the digital technology developed a lot, but for 1990 they really made a pretty good sound with it. Also, you have quite some interesting options. You can drive it on the input side, making it distort. You can really get pretty cool results with it, but just for looking for a clean, nice, long, atmospheric reverb, I'm not yet completely at the point where I want to be for less than 50 bucks. So finally, we are at the G1on. And this is a terrible piece of gear. If you look at it, the build quality is terrible. It's very cheap, but sounds-wise, it is really, really impressive. And what you actually can do with this one is making full pedal boards. So selecting another pedal board, you can see here you have 3 pedals, and for each of these pedals you can choose another sound, another effect. So I went for a very basic one where I only selected one pedal, and this is the HD Hall. So you can see I can switch through these. You have all kind of different reverb effects, plate reverbs, spring reverbs, other kind of reverbs, modulation reverb, even a particle reverb, which is really amazing. But the best one to me is the HD Hall, and you can see why, since it has very, very many parameters. You have a pre-delay, decay, mix, low damp, high damp. So you have all the options to choose how you want to have your reverb sounding, and you can really get a lot out of it. So you can see this is not even the maximum length, and already we are into a super, super ambient sound. So let's have a listen to that. So I even have to play a bit slower things to give this hall the room it can take, and you can make it even more extreme. Going to the settings, setting the delay to full, setting the high damp to max. So we can now listen to pretty much eternal reverb. So this could continue for quite some while, but let me rather choose another effect. The particle reverb is particularly special, so let's have a listen what happens here. So this is a kind of shimmer reverb, and I like it quite a lot. So yeah, I don't have to finish this video for saying that this one is really the best reverb you can get for less than 50 bucks. But as you can see, if I want to choose another reverb, this is like the standard setting, and then you want to change your reverb, you have to press enter, enter again. Then you have to select your hall, you go to HD Hall, you press enter again, and then maybe you want to change the high amp, you have to turn around this one, press enter again, select it, press enter again, press home, and then you're back at home. So since this has so many great features, it becomes very terrible to control. So there's no way for real-time control of any of this. So if you want a handy control, the Behringer still is way better, but sound-wise, the G1on really blew me away. It's a very good pedal. So quite clearly we do have a winner for the best reverb pedal for less than 50 euros. And the price is gonna go to the Zoom G1on. Really, I can't emphasize often enough on how amazing this little thing sounds. And it's not just the reverbs, also all the other sounds that it can produce, all the other pedals that it does emulate, they all sound pretty good. And I can just recommend getting one if you just have 50 bucks. But remember then, whatever you buy for less than 50 bucks, it will be a compromise. So for the Zoom G1on, you have to compromise heavily on controls. Talking about the digital reverb from Behringer, it's way more hands-on. Let's say you play it together with a synth, you have it on your tabletop and you want to control it in real time. This one is way better for that. But honestly, it sounds pretty bad. So let's throw this thing away very quickly. So let's continue talking about this, because yeah, you really have to take the compromise. You pretty much have no chance controlling it in real time. It's just set and go. You can select in between different presets in real time, but yeah, it's just really not hands-on. But for 50 bucks, this surely gives you the best sound. But we still have the other two guys. So we do have the GuitarFX. I still love it very much, but yeah, thinking rationally, this one shouldn't be your first choice, since you won't get it that much cheaper than a Zoom G1on. And again, it's a pedal where you have to compromise a lot, since you have very limited selections in your reverb effects. The choices are pretty small and you don't have that many parameters, so you can get some pretty cool things out of it, and I can still recommend you to get this, but I can just not that highly recommend it to you. So this is another kind of compromise. It might be a little bit more hands-on than the other ones, but it just is not handy. Having it here in my studio, it's working fine. It does some decent sounds, even though you have to compromise a little bit on the naturality. Is that a word? Well, it just doesn't sound very natural if you compare it to the other multi-effect pedals. If you think of your very big hall, this one doesn't sound like it again. It has very nice choruses, it has delays inside, so it can do a lot. I can also recommend you getting this, but if you want to go for the best reverb for less than 50 bucks, this will also not get the price. But still, it's pretty cool, and since it's vintage, it has a special place in my heart. So no, I'm not going to throw this away. So for 50 euro you can get some great compromises. But if you want to get a great overall pedal, it's still the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is just a very good overall package. You have a quality of sound that is similar to the G1on, or maybe even a little bit better, but at the same time you also have really good hands-on controls. You have a very stable, small, sturdy unit. It's not just raw plastic like the G1on, so it's a really good overall package. And well, if you don't have 50 bucks but you have 100 bucks, Hall of Fame is still the way to go. So those have been my thoughts on what would be the best reverb pedal for less than 50 bucks. I hope you liked my video, And as always, I want to hear everything from you. What are your thoughts? Do you have any other reverb for less than 50 bucks? What reverb pedal would you generally recommend? So leave your comments in the comment section below. Other than that, you should maybe leave a like. You should surely subscribe if you want to have more dope content on synthesizers, reverbs, guitars, everything around music in the future. So subscribe for that. Hit the bell button if you want to get my notifications. I will now start to upload more regularly. Hopefully, I will have a little bit more time in the future. Stay safe, wash your hands, and stay tuned for the next video here on Synths and Sounds.